Hey guys, today I have a pull day workout for you. So this is part 2 of our push, pull, legs workout split. We're gonna be working back and biceps. Let's get started. All right, exercise number 1 is gonna be the godfather of all pulling exercises, the pull-up. So we are going to be using a pull-up bar, of course. So you'll have to make sure you have one of those. And then I'm also going to be using some 41-inch resistance bands to give me some assistance. We're gonna be shooting for 3 sets of 10 reps. The way that I like to do the assistance part, I just wrap the band right around the pull-up bar in the center. And then I will basically stretch the band down and hook it around my knee. You can also stretch it way down and stand on it. We've done a whole other video on that, so you can check it out. I'll link it above. But we're gonna be doing kind of a mid to semi-wide grip, just outside of shoulder width apart. And what I like to do is fully stretch these lats out and then squeeze it up. And we're targeting our back muscles here. You're obviously gonna get biceps and forearms involved. But the reason I like to use the bands is so that I can really nail down the form here and control the tempo, because I want to engage those back muscles as much as possible and pull through my elbows. So that is what I'm focusing on here. And like I said, we're going to be doing 3 sets of about 10 reps. And what I like to do is I start with a heavy resistance band that gives me a lot of assistance so I can get the muscles working, get warmed up. And then I like to go down in assistance by using a smaller and smaller band in set 2 and set 3. All right, exercise number 2 is going to be a single arm pull down. We're doing 3 sets of 8 to 12 reps here per side. What you're gonna need is a single 41-inch band, a high anchor point. I'm using a wall anchor. You can use a door anchor or your pull-up bar or whatever you can find that works. It's just gotta be up high. The other thing is you wanna have something to sit on. I just have a plain flat bench here. And then to set this up, I'm gonna thread my band through the anchor point, fold it in half, and then I'm gonna be using a clenched band handle, and I just hook that band handle one side of the band on each ear of the handle, just like that. And then to set my bench up, I kind of go off center just a little bit so that when we get into this, we wanna be close to the wall, basically our toes just about up to the wall, and then you want your arm to be in line. So when you're square to the wall, you want your shoulder and arm to be in line with where that band is anchored. So then we're gonna grab it underhand and make sure that your bench position allows the band to have enough stretch on it to basically pull that lat into a fully stretched position. So I'm gonna scoot a little bit back with my bench here. I got a better stretch now here. And then this exercise is all about driving and pulling with the elbow. And what I'm gonna do here is I'm pulling down and I'm gonna try to drive that elbow behind my spine while staying square to the wall. And then I'm gonna be trying to drive that elbow also in to my side. So I'm like tucking that elbow in and pulling it back at the same time. So when I do this, I'm pulling down, back, and then I'm driving that elbow into my side so I can really feel that lat muscle engaging and squeezing. And it's just nice, slow, and controlled. Couple seconds on the way up. Squeeze it down. A little pause at the bottom, big squeeze. And then let it up nice and slow. It's all about the contraction here. So we're driving that elbow down into our side and back behind our spine. Big squeeze, and then let it up. And I absolutely love these single arm pull downs. And to switch sides, you're gonna have to offset your bench to the other side, slightly off center, just like before. And then it's the same thing with the other arm, driving down and pulling through with that elbow. And that's how we do the single arm pull downs. All right, next exercise, number 3, we are going to be doing a seated close grip row. We're doing 3 sets here of 8 to 12 reps. Just like always, I want you to start on that first set with the higher rep range, targeting around 12 reps with a lighter resistance, and then pyramid that resistance up. And your third and final set should be towards the bottom end of that rep range, shooting for like 7 to 8 really difficult reps to help build strength and get good hypertrophy. So what we need is a single 41-inch band. We're gonna use a low anchor point here. Same bench we used in the last one. And then I have a pair of clench band handles. Setting this up, just loop the band through the anchor point. And then we're gonna pop in one handle, hook the ears of the band, or the ends of the band right around the ears of the handle. And then we're gonna pop our other handle in right alongside of it. And that's gonna give us this V-bar looking setup, close grip. And then to get this into position, I wanna make sure we have solid tension pulling us into this fully stretched position. So it's all about getting this band set up to give you that big stretch and really pulling your lats and your scapulas into that fully extended position. And then we're gonna bring our core in tight, and then we're driving with our elbows again here. So our upper back is all stretched and kind of rounded a little bit forward. And then when we pull through, we're gonna straighten that back out, and we're opening up those scapulas and contracting them, pulling our elbows behind our back, big squeeze, and then let it down nice and slow, back into that fully stretched position, driving through and squeezing, and then let it down nice and slow. It's all about the control here and the stretch. So we wanna maximize that stretch and then also maximize that contraction and squeeze at the top. And you should feel this in your lower lat region, as well as you're gonna get some biceps involved because we have that close grip. And this is just a great pulling exercise that you can really grind out and squeeze those lats. All right, next exercise number 4, we're gonna be moving up the back a little bit. We're gonna target kind of those teres, rhomboids, lower traps, a little bit of rear delt. We're gonna be doing some low anchor bent over rows. So we're gonna use that same low anchor point as before, single 41-inch band, loop it through. Now we're gonna put one handle on each side of the band. So I got 1 and 2. And then we are gonna step away from the wall and get ourselves into this bent over position. So I'm at probably like a 30 to 45 degree angle from the vertical. And then again, we're gonna scoot back so that we get a full stretch, full extension on our scapulas, pulling our core in tight. I bend my knees a little bit just to kind of get me secured and balanced in this position. And then when we pull back, we're gonna be pulling up a little bit higher this time. So before we were kind of pulling down and into our midsection on those seated rows. Now, what I wanna target, I'm gonna drive the ears of these handles onto the outside of my pecs. So I'm gonna be pulling this wide, big squeeze, let it down slow, full extension, pull it wide. And I don't wanna be using a lot of momentum, like doing this leaning action. We wanna try to keep those hips and spine in a fixed position, and all we're doing is pulling through with our elbows, retracting those scapulas, and then fully extending. And with these, we're gonna be doing that same 3 sets of 8 to 12 reps for this exercise. All right, next exercise number 5, we're gonna be doing face pulls. So we're gonna stay kind of targeting that upper back, high anchor point, single 41-inch band, loop it right around. And then same thing as before. It's all about getting the good tension here and pulling those scapulas into that fully extended position. I'm gonna back away from the wall till I get good tension here. I'm grabbing, roughly about 12 inches apart here. And then I'm just gonna pull this back right into my forehead, getting a big squeeze. So I'm pulling apart and back at the same time. You should feel a big engagement on those rear delts, getting some traps involved, as well as the rhomboids. Again, nice and slow and controlled, full extension, and then full retraction, big squeeze, and grind it out. We're doing 3 sets here of 12 reps. So this should really burn out that upper back. And it's all about the squeeze and the controlling that rep throughout the rep range. All right, let's get into some bicep exercises. So next exercise, we're gonna be doing strict curls. And why are they strict? Because we're gonna be leaning up against the wall. So I'm using the clenched foot plate here to attach my bands to make it easier and more comfortable. And it's probably about 6-8 inches away from the wall. And then I'm just gonna lean back into the wall. And the goal here is to have my lower back all the way up to my head flat against the wall. And then I'm gonna be driving my elbows into my sides and trying to keep this form as locked in and strict as possible so that we can't use momentum here. To set the bands up, I like to just thread a band through the handle and fold it in half, the handle of the foot plate, and then I hook one side onto each ear of the handle. This might be a little bit heavy for some people, so you can always just, do the slip knot style. And then if you gotta wrap it around the handle a few times to get good tension at the bottom, you can do it that way as well. I prefer it this way just because you get a little bit more tension at the bottom. So getting into this, basically leaning flat up against the wall. And then, like I said, you want tension pulling these arms into a straight position. There should be really good tension at the bottom. And then obviously as we go up through this rep, the tension is gonna increase and it's gonna peak at that very peak of our contraction here. It's all about form, pinning those elbows into the side and then just drive it up, curling it. Big squeeze, let it down nice and slow. We're doing 3 sets here of 8 to 15 reps. Good control all the way through. Start towards the top of that rep range, targeting around 15 reps. And then I want you to try to increase that resistance on set 2 and then increase again for set 3. And that last set should be your working set for all the marbles. Getting close to 8 reps. And this should really get those biceps fired up and going. All right, so now your biceps are probably pretty fatigued at this point from all those back pulling exercises plus those strict curls. So we're gonna take it down to a more isolated exercise. We're doing single arm preacher curls. And to set this up, what we're gonna need is a single 41-inch band. Gonna loop it around our low anchor point here. And then I am going to put it inside of a clenched band handle. And I like to give it just an extra wrap here because I found that really sets up the tension nicely on these 41-inch bands. And then we're gonna grab our bench and one more piece of equipment, a foam roller. And you can use anything, roughly the same size. I like the foam roller because it's round, short, compact, and light. And what we're gonna do here is, just like always, we're gonna back ourselves away from the wall until we get a solid amount of tension pulling us into this fully straightened position. Then I'm gonna grab my foam roller, put it underneath of my elbow, just above the elbow, and we're gonna use that to give us that isolation for the preacher curl. And then I'm at a little bit of an angle, so I'm not completely square to the wall. I'm probably like, I don't know, maybe 20 degrees pivoted away from the wall to kind of pull my arm out at a little bit of an angle. I find that I get a better contraction that way. And I'm sitting here holding this, my forearms are getting pumped up. So what are we doing? We're doing 2 sets of 8 to 12 reps per side. So we're just gonna grab our handle here and then just drive it all the way up, get it all the way, big squeeze. What's nice about these bands is that they're gonna continue to produce tension all the way through. So you're gonna get tons of tension at that peak contraction. So I want a big flex at the top and then control that negative, let it down nice and slow. Oh, you should just feel these babies just get pumped right up. You should have that nice bicep balling up, getting hard and contracted. It's all about control here. One thing you want to shy away from is when It's gonna get really hard towards the end, so you're gonna wanna try to use like momentum and stuff. The bands will prevent you from doing that, but be conscious about it and just try to pivot only at that elbow and not use a lot of momentum to drive these up. The last exercise in our pull day, we're gonna be doing some reverse curls. So all of our stuff has been kind of supinated or the underhand grip. So we got most of the bicep targeted, short head, long head. Now we're gonna do a reverse grip curl. So we're gonna be doing the pronated grip, and that's gonna hit more of these, the forearm muscles like the brachioradialis, and then we're also gonna try to hit some of that brachialis as well, and you'll still get bicep engagement. We're doing 2 sets of 15 reps here to just burn them out. I like to use a single 41-inch band. You can use the foot plate or just stand on the band like I'm showing right here. And then I'm using a set of clenched grips to give me a good way to hold on to this band so that it doesn't dig into my hand. And so basically I just pop them on there, get roughly like a shoulder width grip, maybe a little bit inside. And then for the reverse curl, pinning those elbows into our side and then just curling it up. Big squeeze. You might have to rotate the grips a little bit so that the open end is into your hand. That'll keep everything nice and secure. And then yeah, we're standing straight up, keeping that neutral spine, and just curling it up. And we're doing 2 sets of 15 reps. And that's how we do the reverse curls. Another way you can set up these reverse curls that I really like is using a bar. So you can use like a steel tube or a rod, just something that's sturdy and straight. And then a 41-inch band. To set this up, I will hook basically one end of the band around each one of my feet. Get that shoulder width stance. And then I just thread the bar right through the band here and center it so that it's looped over the bar. And then I get that same grip. And now the bar here is gonna be a nice, sturdy, and rigid surface so that it won't move around a lot and my wrists won't move very much. And then you can just reverse curl that just like this. And this is honestly the way that I prefer doing the reverse curls. And it's that simple. All right, so that is the end of our pull day workout. Give me a high five in the comments below if you enjoyed this workout. Also, if you wanna see more videos like this or the rest of our push-pull legs series, check out the on-screen video links. I'll link the playlist to the PPL series in there. Also, if you need any of the resistance bands or accessories shown today, please head over to clunchfitness.com and we will hook you up, and thank you for working out with me.